We're gonna go to the House of Apollo. Maybe. If I'm smart. By the way, for fun, I brought along some Retsina. If you're not familiar with what Retsina is, it's a pine resin wine that I've talked about before on this Twitch cast. There it is. This particular one is called Kortaki. And here's what it says. From selected grape varieties grown in the finest vineyards of Attica, shipped to 150 cities all over the world. Kortaki S.A., a company dedicated since 1895 to maintaining the 5,000-year-old Greek winemaking tradition. I think that's pretty cool. Alright. So, while I'm playing, I'm going to be drinking Retsina. And if you've never had Retsina, the best way I can describe it is this one is obviously a white wine. It has a bit of a bite to it. That's how I would describe it. It has a little bit of a bite to it. So I'm going to take a sip. And it's good. It's an acquired taste, but it's not like a super bad bitter or sour taste. It just has a little bit of a bite. And I don't think people expect that in a white wine. But I recommend it. Kortaki is very good. I had to special order it. I'm going to fiddle with my mic because I want to make sure you guys can hear me. The sound is really low on my microphone, or my headset, so. Oh, that's right. I need a key because I got to go get it. Duh. Oh, let's see. Break into here. Alright. So let's see, I've got some blast arrows, some javelins, some hatchets, and some stones. I meant to go get Hydra arrows. Hydra arrows are really, really useful, but I believe one of Apollo's guards actually is going to attack me with Hydra arrows. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to defeat him and get those Hydra arrows. And let's see, let's take a look at the map. Alright, so I am going the right way. I'm going to go take one of these guys on. Alright, there. We set him on fire. So that was good. Alright. So I'm going to open up the conversation to you guys, because there's a bunch of you watching, and I'm very curious to know what your favorite thing about ancient Greece is. Are you interested in the history? Are you interested in the mythology? Are you interested in the language and culture? The food? There's many wonderful things about ancient Greece that I think makes it very interesting to study. And so I would love to know. Look at this guy's swagger. Swagger's like a boss. But, that's not what I meant to do. I don't want to waste things on him. Go away. Oh man, he is just blocking everything. We're gonna have to do a better job here. There we go. Dagnabbit. That's my fault. Because I got lazy. Because I keep forgetting I have a darn shield. What? What? You can't see me? That's right. Freaking John Cena here. Can't see me. That guy could see me though. Stop it. That's not nice. I'll give enemies this. They're actually pretty smart in this game. They don't just stand there. There we go. Now my shield actually does something. Alright. I think the one no? There's a captain down here. I'd forgotten that. Xephos, Iron Club, Bronze Mace. Maybe. Let's try this. Up. There's some guy. There's some guy who wants to give me trouble. What, punk? Nothing. Oh, getting clever on me, huh? Ah, God! There's two of them! I did this all wrong! And the one guy's like, I'm out of here. Nope. I'm just gonna poke everyone and hope for the best. Go away. God, there's like 3 things now. This is garbage. Ah, and he also has a shield. Good on him. The heck is this? Alright. Problem is what it is. Alright. What is this guy doing? Oh, I see what he's doing. Okay. Go away. So, you'd think I would just do manual aim with my arrows, right? The problem is, manual aim is really unintuitive. Look at this. It's ridiculous. See? It's garbage. No! Ugh. It's a ladder fight! Ladder fights are the best fights. Get down here. I'll take that, dude. Ugh. Ah, this is not going well. So I need to get rid of that stupid machine. I'm not gonna do it. Ugh. Fire! Go faster! Oh. Alright, so I barely made it out of that alive because I'm terrible. Ah well, terribly lucky. Ha ha ha. That going forward, shall we? So by the way, this is really cool. What I'm wielding right now is a Cereza. And it's somewhat unwieldy, but this long infantry pike has incomparable reach and does about 30 damage, which isn't too shabby. We're gonna save that for later. I'm gonna pick up an arrow. Go away. Smashy, smashy. I love doing that. Alright. So, let's make sure to craft. And so there was something else. So I don't know if you guys... Oh, good, I've got some armor. So throughout the game, I will occasionally come across not just the gods, but mythical creatures. This is not a mythical creature. This is a very annoying what the heck ever it is. It's some sort of mechanism. And what's funny is that you think that that is sort of anachronistic, but there was a reference to a sort of metal robot in ancient Greek mythology, which tells you a lot about how advanced their culture was. So though we don't hear anything about, you know, mechanical crossbows per se in ancient Greece, what's kind of funny is that they did have some idea about automation, which I think is pretty cool. And another thing that I came across earlier, if you were watching me play the game, was mythical creatures like the Chimera. And I found something fun that I wanted to share with you. There's a couple references to the Chimera. So one is an actual reference to it in Hesiod. Sorry, I'm terrible at pronouncing things. And this is in the Working Days. So here's something for your reference. So Marzat93 says the politics within Rome are pretty interesting to study as well. Absolutely they are, which is why I'm anxious to start Rise, Son of Rome. But we're playing Apotheon right now, and I mentioned that earlier I was playing the Chimera, and I didn't get a chance when I was playing against the Chimera to read off this quote from the Theogony by Hesiod. But this is a really cool quote about the Chimera, because it's a very famous mythological creature. And it says, Hydra bore the Chimera who snorted raging fire, a beast great and terrible and strong and swift-footed. Her heads were 3. One was a glare-eyed lion. One head was of a goat, and the third of a snake, a powerful dragon. The Chimera was killed by Pegasus and gallant Bellerophon. And so it's kind of interesting that there's this crazy creature that snorts fire. Well, it turns out the Greeks weren't completely insane. It turns out they were basing it on something they had seen. And I was just rereading this book last night, and I love this. And it's called Traveling Heroes in the Epic Age of Homer. It's by Robin Lane Fox. Really encourage you pick this one up, because it's got really cool information on history-based Greek lore. And one of my favorite things, well, there are two things. One was all about a place called Monkey Island. If you're a gamer, you got to crack up about that. And it was an island that was somewhere off of Tunisia. But there's another chapter that's all about the chimera and where the idea for the chimera came from. And as it turns out, and I thought I had properly labeled it so I could go back to it and read you it, but the chimera was actually thought to be a place off the Lycian or the Cilician coast. So somewhere off the coast of Turkey, there was actually a mountain that had gases coming up, either from the ground or from caves, and at night you could see the fire. Oh, here we go. So let me read a little bit about the chimera, the historical background of the chimera. Travelers by sea to Lycia in southern Asia and the Gulf of Antalya, and I apologize, I'm not very good at these pronunciations, then became aware of an extraordinary sight in the landscape. As they rounded Cape Gelidion, they saw the spectacle which has fascinated many sea travelers since, a conspicuous fire which burns in the mountains beyond the coast. This fire, the Turkish Yanar, still burns from natural gases on the slopes of Lycia's Mount Olympus. In 1902, it was visited by D.G. Hogarth, subsequently the historical advisor to Lawrence of Arabia, who describes how tongues of flame, spirituous, colorless, well-nigh invisible in that white glare, were licking the mouth of a dozen vents. The largest vent opens almost beneath the main group of ruins, which has evidently been a church once, raised with the stones of some older building. A Greek inscription is encrusted in the blistered wall, and surely some pagan temple has stood here to the spirit of the fire. The Christian church had been built here as a counterweight to a pagan cult site. We now know from nearby inscriptions that it had been a sanctuary of Hephaestus, the god closely linked to fire, whose cult left a mark on many settlements in the surrounding region. He was exactly the god for these flames. The flames were invisible to Hogarth by daylight, but by night, as many precious sea travelers had attested, they are clearly visible to crews off the Lycian coast. In Semitic languages, the root of the word for fire was chimera, resembling the Greeks' word for their goat monster, chimera. The discovery may have enhanced their idea of a chimera's nature. So it always feels like the ancient Greeks had wild imaginations when it came to their mythological creatures, but in fact, they were basing it off things that they had seen and absolutely couldn't explain. And so I'm seeing some comments saying, it was based off volcanic activity and, natural fires, and absolutely it was. But of course the ancient Greeks didn't know what the heck was causing all this natural phenomenon. So they started freaking out. And another book I wanted to show you real fast before I continue, I know you guys are waiting for me to continue with Apotheon. I love this book so much, I have to share it with you guys. It's all about paleontology in Greek and Roman times, and it's called The First Fossil Hunters. I want to show you guys this book. Again, this is annoying glare. But it's called The First Fossil Hunters. And you've actually probably seen, there was a History Channel special on this as well. And so when the Greeks talk about, earlier I actually took on a Cyclops in Apotheon. And they think that the Cyclops may be based on a woolly mammoth skull. Because if you look at these woolly mammoth skulls, where the eyes are supposed to be, it looks like one giant hole. And to the ancient Greeks, who were sometimes tripping on these ancient mammal bones, they had no way to explain what the heck these things were. It was terrifying to them. So it looked like a giant man with one eye. And just for fun, here's a terrifying sight. This is a skeleton